During the latter part of the year 1935, Alfred Brady, James Dalhover, and Clarence Lee Schaefer, Jr., formed a coalition for the purpose of engaging in criminal activities that later were to make them the objects of one of the greatest manhunts in the history of American crime. The depredations of this gang of desperados rival those of the characters of the most bloodthirsty novels of our time, and were brought to an end by the death of Brady and Schaefer while resisting arrest by FBI agents and the capture of Dalhover in the New England city of Bangor, Maine, in October 1937. To this gang has been attributed the statement that they would make Dillinger look like a piker. Whether or not they accomplished their avowed purpose is a moot question, but the fact that they met the same fate as the members of the Dillinger gang cannot be disputed. Although the members of this infamous gang committed in the neighborhood of 150 holdups and robberies, and at least one and possibly two murders in the comparatively short period of time between the latter part of the year 1935 and April 1936, the crimes committed were violations of state laws, and as such did not come within the investigative jurisdiction of the FBI. On April 27, 1936, however, the Kay Jewelry Store at Lima, Ohio, was held up and robbed for the second time by Alfred Brady, James Dalhover, and Clarence Lee Schaefer. Approximately $8,000 worth of jewelry was taken. On the day of the robbery, a number of boxes in which the jewelry had been kept were found where they had been discarded near Geneva, Indiana, which of course gave rise to the presumption that the stolen jewelry had been transported from Ohio across the state line into Indiana, thus permitting the FBI to enter the case. 2 weeks later, Brady was apprehended by the police department at Chicago, Illinois, and Dalhover and Schaefer, within a few days thereafter, by the Chicago and Indianapolis police departments respectively. They were held on a charge of murdering a police sergeant of the Indianapolis Police Department. They remained in jail until October 1936. In the meantime, special agents had been carefully checking the previous activities of the members of the gang in an effort to determine if they were responsible for other violations of federal laws and obtaining all the facts relative to their activities for prosecutive purposes. The background and activities of this gang of criminals, as contained in the files of the FBI, reflect that Alfred James Brady was born near Kentland, Indiana, on October 25, 1910. His early life was that of the average country boy, and his education was received in the elementary school at North Salem, Indiana. His father died when he was only a few years old, and Brady and his mother later moved to Indianapolis, where Mrs. Brady married a man by the name of Biddle. Brady's mother died in December 1926, when Brady was 16 years of age. His stepfather died 2 years later. Little is known of the activities of Brady as a young man, but it is known that he, at one time, worked in a clothing store in Indianapolis, and later, after the death of his stepfather, was employed as an errand boy at a hot tamale stand run by a friend of the family. He was so employed during 1931 and 1932. Leaving this employment, he began to wander around, and the people with whom he had been staying saw little of him for several years, until July 10, 1934, when he was arrested under the name of James Reed on a charge of vagrancy. Through the intervention of one of his acquaintances, with whom he had previously resided, this charge was dismissed, and he was not heard from again by his former acquaintances until about August 1935, when he returned to Indianapolis and obtained employment in a mattress factory for a short time.